The friends were finally able to sell their procured armaments to the magic shop, but Ianfear affixed on a questionable wand, the purpose of which was obscured from even the owner of the very shop in which it sat. Inspecting the wand triggered Ianfear's wild magic surge, causing a portal to open and the ranger Ahara and his companion Talos to drop in, right on top of Ianfear's head. The friends reunited. They made their way to the Bunahver citadel, where they confronted a mob of the town comfolk listening to the raving of the House Drac liaison to Bunahver. He made claims that magic users were responsible for the spread of the epidemic disease, that and that House Godbury was responsible for covering it all up. Rec publicly protested the accusations against Godbury, and in fear and test hatched a plan to disperse the crowd. The sky darkened, and rain began to fall. Tess began speaking in Infernal and implicated House Godbury. Between the two efforts, the crowd dispersed, and the Drac liaison left with a curse upon House Godbury. Beneath the Bunahver citadel, in a long, empty dungeon, the party went to see the mirror. As soon as the cell was opened, Scriteau, the friendly Kenku, emerged from within the mirror with a letter for Tess and friends. In their letter, Scriteau begged for their life, stating to have been imprisoned by the lady and requesting to be saved by the party. Wary of the implications of everything that had transpired, the heroes, along with Kimrim and Govin Godbury, prepare to depart for the great city Shapabin, and hopefully some answers within the great libraries there. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to New Dalancia, our Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition campaign. Hope everyone is having a good day today because I'm having a great day. Let's get down to it, shall we? So, at the end of the last episode, you guys had just made your way into the appropriate pint inn where you were discussing your upcoming travels. Ahara had taken up a lute in the corner and began strumming away, providing music for the night. Right. So at this point, Misku and Cyrene, you both are outside of the inn. And as you approach, you see the sign donned outside. It's a very new building to you, Misku. And there's a big sign just outside the door that says the appropriate pint inn.
All right. I guess I'll head inside.
Welcome back. Apologize for that. All right. So, right, as I was saying, Misku and Cyrene, you guys are just outside of the inn. You can definitely hear the music from outside. It seems to be coming. You recently heard that the rest of the party was meeting up here and decided to make your way here.
I think Misku and Cyrene are gonna head inside.
Okay. You should be able to click on the door in front of you.
Oh.
Yep. And make your way in. Kind of cool, right?
That's really cool.
All
All right. So as you guys enter, you see all the party lined up at the bar and a familiar face behind the counter. Cyrene, you've already seen Miss Fayal, and Misku, you see Fayal behind the bar, and this is the same barmaid that had originally joined your party in Staskar.
Right.
So as everybody else sitting at the bar, you can You hear the door swing open, and Misku and Cyrene come in.
Tess turns around and seeing Misku, her eyes immediately light up, and she says, Misku, come join us, come join us. We missed you. Where have you been?
Misku walks up, spins the chair from the table behind them towards them, plops down in it, ruffles Tessa's hair, and is like, oh, you know, just stuff.
Oh, big,
She says,
big criminal
shaking
things.
a big bag of gold.
And Cyrene just kind of flies over to the end of the table there and sits right in the middle of a very big chair.
Right, the fairy flies over and sits next to you on top of this this bar stool. The barmaid walks over, sort of eyes each of you. Ah, yes, it's good to see you both again. I was wondering when you would arrive. Can I get you a drink or some food?
Cyrene kind of nods with a little jingle and says that she'll take a thimble of any kind of honey milk or anything like that she might have.
Coming right up, sugar. And she proceeds into the kitchen area, where she starts to, gather the materials, things like that. And before long comes back and sets your order down before you. And for you, she looks over at you, Misku.
Misku reflexively just shouts, 2 ales, please.
Ah, 2 ales, yes. And she grabs 2 mugs, walks over to the keg next to the bar here and fills them up. Swings around the bar and sets them in front, hands them directly to you before proceeding back across the bar. I suppose you'll be getting some rest here before your departure. And she makes eye contact with you, Ianfir. Where was it you said you were going again, sugar?
Well, we're not entirely sure yet. We're gonna have to travel across the ocean. So I imagine the first place we're going to start looking is going to be Mekrodika.
Ah, traveling back into the Mekrodekan province. That means you'll be headed by Staskar. Her eyes shift and affix on a point in the bar before she kind of catches herself and makes eye contact with you once again. Surely you'll tell my father, you'll give my father the news of my new establishment. I've written him, but I'm not sure if my letters have been making it as of late. What with the disease?
Well, I will certainly do my best to get word to him, although I can't imagine he would be terribly happy to see me.
Oh, I think everything's going to be fine. We've exchanged letters for many weeks after we met. Although, I will, I assume you'll work that out on your arrival.
We'll see what we can do.
Well, if there's nothing else, would anyone else like food or drink? Of course, it's on the house for you lot.
Raising her hand, Tess says, Tess would like your warmest bowl of stew.
Ah, stew. For everyone, then. She kind of looks around.
Ooh, 2 bowls, please. 2 bowls, actually, for me.
Aye, same thing from me.
Can't say no to free food.
She goes into the kitchen and gets hard to work. Valphalin stands up from his seat and approaches the table next to you, Misku. I won't ask what you've been up to, but it's good to have you back. He puffs on a pipe and pillows of smoke billow from his nostrils. You notice that he's now lacking the greatsword that was once strapped to his back, and as you glance over at Antarius, you see that that self-same greatsword is now strapped to Antarius's back. Curious.
Misku notices this and looks back, going, "What happened to your sword? Did you lose a bet?"
Let us say the burden of its history was growing too much to bear on the regular. I feel that it is in its rightful place now. He glances back at Antarius, who sort of shakes his head and downs his ale.
Misku shrugs, not really getting it, but that's fine. Misku raises her glass and says, "I'll drink to that," and takes a big swig.
Without any shame, Tess will spin around in her chair and looking directly at Val and say, "What is the origin of that sword? You say it was a burden heavy on you. What do you mean?"
When I was still a young knight, well, not so much a knight, but a trainee. Back in Imojokia, we faced many perils from the monsters of the rainforest. At times, they would make their way into the smaller cities, and my band would respond to keep the village safe. One day, my knight trainer and I, the one who plucked me from the monastery at which I grew, were at one such town, defending it from a dire bear. He was mortally wounded, and there was naught that I could do. In its dying breath, he handed me his greatsword, and this was the weapon that I had spent the majority of my time learning. I took up his weapon, and I knew that I could not return to the castle. The other knights, they looked down upon me, for I'm dragonborn, and most were human and elf. I made my way to a different city and took up this sword and became a mercenary and a sailor. Eventually, I would meet my captain here, and together we would travel to Mekerdika, to which we now head. Simply put, I feel that it is time to move on.
Wow, that's truly honorable. Tess kind of feels the same about her quarterstaff, and Tess kind of pulls her staff out and holds it up to show it. Tess's mother made this. This is the only thing that helped Tess get through the forest to help find the road, which Tess eventually found you guys.
Misku, listening to both of these stories at this point, has kind of like crossed her arms and closed her eyes and kind of nodding. Like she gets just like, "Oh, okay. I feel that."
Amazing how some people get attached to their weapons, Tess says as she is kind of stroking her quarterstaff and cleaning it off.
Finally, Fayal starts to come around. Oh, these are all very touching stories. She starts to set these bowls of stew before each of you.
Tess just immediately starts digging in with the utensil that was hopefully provided.
It's not long before you've all cleared your plates and are ready for a good, long night's rest.
And a bath in Tess's case.
We'll be departing in the morning for Mekordika, Our wagon awaits outside. Does anyone have any other business here before we depart?
Did we ever hear back of the wagon sent for my supplies for my tribe?
Antarius looks up. That wagon should be on its way still. I've sent my 2 retainers with that wagon, so we should hear back in a few days. They know
No.
to meet us on the road.
Excellent. I wasn't sure if it had already left or not. That is fine.
Oh, yes.
I appreciate you letting me know. And then he goes back to eating.
Right. So everybody, you all put into the various rooms here at the inn, and the morning comes. You make your way back out to the transition here. You make your way back out to the main room. Ah. Welcome back, all. Alphalin sort of stretches and comes out of the hallway from the room. I hope that you all have had a good long rest. Go ahead and give yourself a long rest at this point. There should be a button on your character sheet for long rest. You can go ahead and just click on that. That will automatically pull your spells back, put your spells back in and all of that.
All right.
The morning light sort of pours through the front door that was left open. Well, Fayal approaches, and she's got these several bags. I took the liberty of making some food for your journey. It may not be much, but a little breakfast on the road, if you will, and sets them down before you, Ianfir and Tess.
Tess smells the bags.
So this seems to they seem to give you sort of a meaty sort of smell. There are a couple of these small boxes that seem to have this like meat inside them, and there are bags of bread.
Oh, thank you so much, Fayao. Tess thinks
Oh.
we're gonna need as many foods as we can find.
And one more thing, and she steps down into the trap door, and before long comes up with 2 kind of medium-sized kegs and sets them before you. Some ale, my own brew for the road.
Oh, yes, Fayao. Thank you so much.
Anything I can do.
At this, Ianfir is gonna pull out his own coin purse and say, "We really thank you, and we know you've provided for us with your own generosity, but I wanted to give you something in order to help at least
She
try to keep some things around." And
She shakes her head and she places her hands on yours on top of the bag and says, "If you hadn't brought me here from Staskar, I never would have found myself and opened this place. And that is enough. Next time, things may not be as free, but it's the least I could do for now. Please, it's time. You should be on your way. And as I said, when you get to Staskar, please find my father. Tell him of what you've seen here today."
we'll certainly give word to him where possible.
My friends, we should be off. All right. Does anyone else have any other business here in Bunahver?
I don't think so.
Misku's good to go.
Anyone else?
I'm good if you are, Val.
Right. I'm gonna go ahead and activate a new scene here. It doesn't look like that's actually showing up for anybody. Let me try this. Ah, that looks better. Can everyone see the map?
Yes.
I can.
Yep.
Excellent. So you guys um so you guys are on your way to Mekerdika, which you see down in the sort of lower right there. I've put an X on the map where you're starting. We'll kind of move this along the way. So this will kind of be the new one of our new intro map and everything like that. So you guys begin to make your way down the road. As you depart Bunahver, the mage Healthius and Kimrim, Govin, and his son all approach with a second wagon. As we move forward, Govin says, we'll be man in the wagon, make sure nothing happens. Ah, says Antarius. Me too. I'll be mostly staying with the wagon unless you need me. Well, does anyone else need supplies? Anything else before we leave? Says Kimrim. Sort of looks around, nobody chiming in.
Tess, she pats on her bag and just says, Tess can feel the heft. I think she's good. What about everyone else?
I think we have everything we need to start making our journey.
We'll have another chance in Staskar. We should probably stop there. Get some rest before the very long road to Mekerdika. Do you agree?
Yeah, there's definitely some business that would need to be tended to in Staskar anyway.
So you know, the situation has been changing here. I must say that, especially after the events yesterday with the mob and the Drac liaison, I fear we might be on the brink of war. But all that does is make our journey that much more important. We must find a cure for this disease.
Well, Tess will do everything she can to study it.
Well, with that said, shall we be off?
Yes, I'm so ready.
So you guys, hitch up the wagons and begin to make your way along the path. I'm going to go ahead and move our X here down the road. Hopefully that doesn't start looking too messed up. It kind of did, but that's okay. I'll fix that a little bit later. So you guys kind of make your way along the road, and for a long time, it's a very quiet journey. Go ahead and everything's set up here. Moment, please.
How long does it normally take to get from Bunahver to Staskar?
It's actually not that long. It's probably about 8 hours, I would say.
Okay.
So you can make the trip in less than a day. Actually, probably more than 8 hours. I'm going to call it about 10 hours to get there, going at about a normal pace. Let's see, am I missing anybody here? Doesn't. Ah, okay. So, as you make your way down the road, um, how do you guys want to do this as you travel? Do you want to kind of have someone constantly on lookout? Like, what are you doing with your downtime?
Rec will probably take more of a lead position, scouting out the road as he goes, looking for anything out of the ordinary, or tonight's dinner.
Okay, Rec, I'd like you to go ahead and roll a perception check.
Right, 15.
15, excellent. Everybody should see that in the game log. 15, excellent. So as you guys are progressing down the road, Rec, you suddenly see a few figures up ahead. They look a bit standoffish. Rec suddenly kind of swings forward and calls for the wagons to halt.
Tess is immediately on alert. She heads to the front where Rec is hanging out. She kind of whispers, "What do you see, Bearman?"
Some figures up ahead.
Tess holds her her hand kind of like above her eyes to kind of scout, like squinting to try and see them.
They're these really tall, kind of lurched over figures. You can't really make them out from this distance, but because they're a little ways up ahead.
Just
They seem to be gathered around a much smaller, perhaps an animal.
Misku hops off the wagon, club over her shoulder, taking long drags off her pipe, walking up towards the group. Looks over at Rec and asks, "Are we gonna have some trouble?"
Not sure. Well, let's go find out.
Yes, I agree. Let's investigate.
Tess is with you.
Balphalin, as well as Antarius, actually kind of hop off the cart. I'll come with this time as well. Ahara picks up his hand. He seems to be tending to Talus at current, who is sort of whimpering in the back of this wagon.
May want to keep somebody back by the wagon just in case this is an ambush.
I agree. I don't trust it. You guys kind of make your way from the wagon up the road ways. Hopefully everybody can see the new scene.
Yes.
Loading in right now.
Yep.
Yeah, I see it.
All right.
I see it.
The road is sort of turned to gravel at this point, and just ahead you see these very tall figures. They seem to be of a humanoid variety. They're yeah, they're pretty big. Oh, you know what? I actually have this wrong. This should actually be. Can I fix that? One moment, please. Can I fix the? How can I fix the size of these guys? Excuse me. Ah, there we go.
Oh, they're big boys.
Yeah, they are actually. They are large. Um, so in front of okay. Um, yeah. So as you guys approach, you see one of these very large um, figures sort of swatting at this wolf who is um, sort of um, engaged with them. Um, they take a really wide swing, and the wolf easily dodges it and backs up, snarling. Let's start some appropriate music here. All right. At this point, I'd like everybody to go ahead and roll and init. And init. See, so we got task with initiative roll of 9.
Ugh.
Green with an initiative roll of 13. Brash with an initiative 16. And fear. So a 9. Let's give it a 5. All right. Let's see, so I'm missing 4 Antarius. So you can roll initiative by clicking on the initiative modifier on your sheet.
I rolled that with advantage and got a 16 both times.
Ah, awesome.
Lucky
Antarius
number
rolls a 4.
16.
Oh yeah, I'm missing Valphalin as well. $13. Okay. See that? Let me here. That's weird. I wonder why it's giving you that. I'll look into that in just a bit. Guys, almost there. Okay, perfect. All right, here we go. Round 1. All right. Yolanthe, you might need to refresh your character sheet. I think we might have made some changes that need to be applied. So just go ahead and refresh it real quick. That might fix the problem. If not, just let me know. Like I said, I didn't really think about how rolling in wild shape would work for you. So go ahead and just roll your attacks normally. That will come from your action screen, just like you did before. Okay?
Okay.
Cool. All right, everybody. So we are starting off with one of the 2 trolls. So these are, you guys are able to identify these as trolls, but only in sort of a loose kind of sense. They, as you approach, you notice that they are dripping flesh off of their bodies. It's unlike anything you've ever seen, but they're definitely trolls. It's as though like as soon as they drip this flesh off of their bodies, like it immediately grows back.
Ugh.
All right. Yeah, it's pretty disgusting. All right. So one of the trolls turns around and sees you guys, and it starts kind of moving your way through the trees. Another of the trolls um, sort of steps around warily, sort of trying to defend itself from the onslaught of the wolf. So, Yolanthe, you are actually up first on this one. You had the highest initiative roll, so yeah, you can go ahead and take your action and movement as well.
All right. I'm going to come up to the one here in front of me and just kind of lunge at it, try to bite it.
All right. So if you click the number, oh yeah, you're perfect. There's a 9. Let's see here. So you sort of lunge at this troll, and he kind of just sidesteps out of the way. I believe you have multiple attacks that you're able to make as well.
Not as a wolf. I have advantage with a pack, but I don't have a pack near me, so that's it for me.
Okay. So you only took a 5-foot step, so you can actually still take a movement if you'd like, which includes taking a 5-foot step out.
I will kind of follow through on my lunge and kind of try to get around to the other side, maybe for a sneak attack on the back.
All right, sounds good. So you kind of maneuver around toward the back of this troll. He kind of eyes you as you maneuver around him, but he doesn't. He starts to turn towards you, but isn't able to turn entirely as of yet. All right, we come up to Breck Bloodstone. It's your turn.
All right, so have I had any experience fighting trolls before?
Yes, you've definitely seen them in the wild, but none such as these.
Okay. All right, he's gonna go ahead and move up. Hopefully.
Is it not letting you?
Let's see. Doing something wrong here.
Okay, yeah. Make sure you have the yeah, okay, there you go.
All right. So Rek moves forward, starts banging his warhammer on his shield. Come on, you gross giant wormy thingies. He moves forward, but still hesitant as to what he's looking at. And he's gonna hold. I'm gonna go in, and yeah, he's just gonna hold his ground there.
All right. You hold your ground. Cyrene, you are up next.
All right, so Serena's just gonna fly past Misku and move forward. And that's her turn.
Okay, you're not going to cast anything at this point?
No, not at this point.
Okay. All right, Valphalen's going to make his way forward. Let me, here, whoop. It's my ruler. Right, so it looks like you can make it 60 feet, I believe. 60 feet, running speed. Oh, no. Okay, it doesn't look like I can actually take an action at this point, so we're going to go ahead and pass that turn. And the turn goes to Ianfear. Ianfear, you're up.
All right. So let's see. 25, 30. That puts me. All right.
Yeah, you should be able to hit pretty much anything.
Well, not with this. But I guess. This guy is looking pretty scary. Let me see what happened. Levels. Extra damage. Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and cast a Chaos Bolt at 3rd level. That hit.
All right, Chaos Bolt. 16 is a hit.
And then it will deal. Why did it only roll 2? It should roll a 3rd, I think, right? And another level takes an extra d6 damage of the type roll. So 1d6.
I was gonna order some Cracker Barrel if you want some.
So that's going to be a total of 15 damage. And it will be. Hold on. 5 and 8. That'll be 15 thunder damage.
15 thunder damage. All right. So, bolt of lightning just kind of, or you create a orb of this like lightning that leaps from your hands and strikes this troll just dead on in the chest. He sort of reels back from it, but still looks like he's doing pretty well. He kind of regenerates that area almost immediately. Although it did look like it hurt him, and he does look like it did affect him.
Hopefully that wasn't too shocking.
All right. Any other action here, Ianfear?
That's going to be it.
Tess, you're up.
Okay, while running to stand next to Rek, she's going to pull out a piece of parchment and write one of her cleric holy texts upon them. And then she would like to cast Shield of Faith on Rek. I clicked it, but I don't know if it put it into the chat, so I'm just going to copy and paste it real quick over here. Bam.
Shimmering field appears and surround a creature of your choice within range, granting it a +2 bonus to AC for the duration.
The casting time is 1 bonus action, and I can concentrate on it for up to 10 minutes.
All right.
And this is cast on Rek.
Okay, so you can still cast a spell as well.
Even if I'm concentrating, though?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so Tess is just going to focus on concentrating on buffing Rek for the time being.
Okay, Rek, you've got a +2 to your AC henceforth.
Okay. She should be able to cast any other spell as long as it's also not a concentration spell.
Oh yeah, okay.
Ooh,
That's
good
true.
point. Okay. Let me see. Let me see. Okay, yeah, and this one's a cantrip.
What do you got?
Let's see. This is within. Perfect. Toll the dead.
So you cast your your Toll the Dead, and that the ring of the bell fills the air around the creature. He looks to be unfazed by it, but he immediately turns directly toward you and eyes you. He is absolutely immune to it.
Good to know.
You're able to discern that he cannot. These guys cannot take necrotic damage.
Oh, because their flesh is melting already.
Yes.
Looking to Rectus will say, do your best, Bearman.
When I asked earlier if Rek had any experience with trolls, would he know what their weaknesses are to call out to the rest of the group?
Weapons are effective.
Okay.
Weapons are effective.
All right.
Yeah, you have never seen trolls like this before, though. They are like rotting, which is unlike any trolls you've ever seen. Typically, like with regular trolls, it really doesn't matter what you throw at them, but they tend to have like sort of a regenerative property. That may not be the case for these guys, though, as they seem to be constantly just melting skin off of them.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, yeah, that ends my turn. Sorry.
Misku, your turn.
All right. Good question. If I have the ability to land multiple or to throw multiple attacks, can I ready multiple attacks also?
Can you ready multiple attacks? It depends. What are you trying to do here?
What I wanted to do is move into range and then ready my 2 attacks if they step in my range.
Yeah, I'll allow it.
Okay. So I'm going to use my cunning action to make my run and dash. That's good right there.
All right. So you dash ahead of the rest of the group. Kind of you lock eyes with this troll.
All right. And then I want to go
Snarls at
ahead.
you.
Want to go ahead and activate my rage and frenzy, and I'll ready my 2 attacks for the turn. The frenzy wouldn't apply to the next until the next round of attacks, though.
I'm just going to go ahead and throw a couple of these icons on you. It was just rage and frenzy, was it?
Yes.
Let's go ahead and stick with just that icon. It's good. Okay. Antarius is also going to make his way over. Let's see. Whoops. I'm up 30 feet. Right. Antarius is going to use... This is. Oh yeah, perfect. Sorry. All right, he's going to go ahead and use his moonbeam on the. He's going to go ahead and use moonbeam on the troll closest to the party. Let's see here. Save con 14. Increases 1d10 for each spell slot level above second. So he's casting this at second level. The how much damage? 2d10 radiant damage. Failed save or this much damage on a success.
Can I ask
All right,
what
so this
moon...
is
Oh, sorry.
what's that?
Can I ask what Moonbeam looks like when he uses it?
You are about to find out.
E.
One moment. So we just cast that. Okay, so I need to have him roll a. Was it Constitution save? Was it Constitution DC 14 Constitution save? Here we go. All right, so Antarius sort of raises his sword up in the air, and sort of a beam of this radiant light shines down upon this troll. Sort of starts singeing his skin off in places. He seems to regenerate it pretty quickly, but it does deal its damage. One moment, if you please. Let me go ahead and roll damage on that. It's our 2d10. It's 12 damage. All right. All right, Antarius finishes up his turn, and the first troll starts to move up. First troll starts to move up to Misku. He is going to take a swing. Actually, yeah, he's going to take 2 swings with his claws at Misku. First attack is a 17.
And do these occur after or before my ready attacks?
Oh, yes. Yeah, you had those ready to attacks. Go ahead and roll those.
Wait, no, I didn't roll for hit. That was damage. Oops. That's what I wanted.
25 is a hit.
I roll the second one.
27 is a hit.
Okay, and then damage for those 2.
Okay, we got 12 damage. And 13 damage.
Okay, and my AC is 14, so yes, its first attack will be a hit.
All right. Whoops, that was the wrong one. This was the right one. So you take 13 damage.
Okay, and this is bludgeoning damage, correct?
This is actually slashing damage from his
Okay.
claws.
All right, I will still take half on that for resistance.
All right, half rounded down, so that would be 6. So he sort of scrapes his claws across your chest, and going to make another, or scrapes a claw across your chest. He makes another attack roll. That's an 18. What was your AC again?
14, but it's
All right, and that's going to deal 10 damage.
I'm.
Okay, I've got that updated. All right. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. So along with that, you're also going to be taking some necrotic damage.
Oof.
That is going to be, for each hit, 10 and 7, so total 17 necrotic damage from each of those hits.
All right.
All right. There we go. So Misku is looking pretty bad. About half health on Misku. Let's see. We're going to go ahead and move on to the second troll. Speed 30. So, Galanthe, the troll sort of just lumbers right past you, seeing that his friend has been wounded. He starts to make his way toward these oncoming people.
She kind of
Okay.
she kind of seems to notice them for the first time. Like she's been so wrapped up in fighting for her life that she didn't even notice the confusion behind her. And once the troll starts lumbering past, she kind of eyes over the newcomers really warily, but then kind of weighs her chances and sees they're mostly focused on that other one, so she feels like she can get closer to attack. So she's gonna come up behind this one and try to tear off a chunk.
All right. Go ahead and roll.
It's still saying I'm not found in the table, but I rolled a 13 for my attack.
It's so weird. I'll take a look into that a little bit later. So 13 for your attack?
Yeah. And
13 does miss, but can you go ahead and roll a second one because there was an attack of opportunity when he passed by you?
okay. That one's a 7.
Moment. So weird. I feel like that's not hitting. Wait, one moment, please. Interesting. Why that's coming in the way that it is. See, I'm able to roll on your sheet fine. Strange. Okay. Yeah, I'm afraid neither of those hit.
So I'm just gonna kind of circle around and try to make some intimidating little barks and snaps.
Okay. All right. As you circle around, you sort of grab his attention a little bit. See here. Yeah. Okay. Right. Any other actions this turn?
That's it.
Okay. Wreck Bloodstone, you're up.
All right. So at this point, Rek will bang on his shield one more time. Let out a growling, echoing scream and rush forward.
I'd like you to go ahead and roll either an intimidation check or if you can kind of think of a way you want to work that in otherwise. I'll let you do that.
Intimidation's fine. So he'll move forward and then pivot and then come around with a double hand swing at this troll.
All right.
As far as intimidation goes, it's a 4.
Okay, so you do, you bang on your shield and everything. Both of the creatures look at you, but they kind of smirk and shrug you off.
All right. So now that I'm rushing up to hit this guy, so two-handed with the Warhammer.
All right.
13 on the first attack.
13 is a miss.
All right, swing around again for 21.
That is a hit.
All right, and then
Sorry, I was muted. Hang on. To the 13, before you determine the thing, I was going to use my Bend Luck ability to add a d4 to his attack.
Okay.
So I spend 2 sorcery points, and he instead attacked for 14.
Still a miss, I'm afraid.
Okay.
all right, so miss on the first one, continues to swing around again. Hits for 21, 15 damage.
15 damage. Boom. Nice. All right. Any other actions here? Red?
Oh man, I shouldn't have done that. Yeah, it's too late now. Nah, he's raging at this point. Oh, so that would have been 2 more points for 17 with the rage.
Oh, yes. Okay. 2 more points for 17. Bam.
And that'll end my turn.
All right. So you just absolutely. So you take one swing at it, and it sort of just glances off of his shoulder. Fear, does his best to help guide the weapon, but yeah, like I said, just kind of glances off him. You then kind of recover from that. That you take another step back, this time kind of focused on sort of on his neck and shoulder area, and you bring that hammer down, slam right into his shoulder, and there's a sickening kind of crunch in the skin that's sort of wraps around your weapon as it digs in, and he kind of lets out this shriek, and sort of buckles and almost takes a knee, but then regains his footing and stands back up. He kind of towers over you and screams.
I'm screaming right back at him. Roar!
That was a very intimidating exchange. Cyrene, you're up.
All right, so Cyrene is going to move forward right up next to Misku. And then hopefully speed along this process of degradation to their skin with an acid splash or 2 or 3.
All right. So wait, you're casting acid splash?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I did that 3 times.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it would just be one. I think it's
Yeah.
a magic missile.
Yeah, I was.
So let me see. With acid splash, I think there was like a DC. Let me go ahead and link it in the chat here. Where is acid splash? There it is. So it's a cantrip. They link that again. There it is. Roll a bubble of acid. Choose 1 or 2 creatures you can see within range. If you choose 2, they must be within 5 feet of each other. A target must succeed on a dexterity saving throw or take 1d6 acid damage. Spell's damage increases by 1d6 when you reach 5th level, so it would be 2d6. Okay. Let me go ahead and roll the dexterity save. And what is your spell save
16.
DC?
Well, no, it says the saving throw is DC 16 dexterity.
DC 16 dexterity. So he fails that. Go ahead and roll your damage.
Okay.
That's 9 damage. All right, so you sort of place both of your hands together, and acid just kind of sprays out of both of your hands and all over this, all over um, the troll. Um, for those of you who are very close, as this acid sort of burns into his skin, you notice that it sort of stops dripping around. Rek, as you're standing there, a piece of the flesh right before this goes off sort of hits one of the furs that you're wearing, and it sort of like damages it, like it kind of melts through it. This kind of gives you the sense that if anyone is sort of within the vicinity of this thing, it's possible that you could get struck by this skin that's falling off of it, and it could potentially hurt you. However, like I said, with the acid in particular, it actually stops it from melting that skin off of it.
Okay. That's strange. So Cyrene's going to take note of that. And like look over at Misku.
Any other actions here, Cyrene?
No, sir.
All right, Valphalen's also going to go ahead and close in. Let me see. He's going to kind of position himself between the two. He is going to see. Infocone. Let me see here. Okay, so he's going to go ahead and he's going to take a very deep breath and turning his back to the troll that you both have been fighting, he exhales this fire, which spreads across the other troll. So we need a DC 14 Dexterity save. Which he fails, actually. Roll that damage. How do I roll that damage? Okay, this would be 3d6. And my dice are on top of it. Looks like 14. All right, so Valphalen breathes fire over this other troll. Whoops, actually I did that wrong. He breathes fire over this other troll, and that fire starts to erode the skin that's falling off of it. Similar to the acid, it sort of stops that skin from falling off it. So all of you kind of see that happen, and you note that, especially you, Yolanthe. You notice that his fire sort of glances over it, and it stops that skin from falling off, that corrosion. Okay. Okay, Ianfear, you are up next. Go ahead.
All right, well, let's start moving in closer. 30. Let's see. 50. Is that enough? That is enough. All right, well, so this other guy does not seem to, that's further away, does not seem to be as wounded as the others. So, since he seems to be a little bit more difficult to looking at, Ianfear is going to sort of draw forth a lot of magic and together, and he's going to cast Polymorph.
All right.
Well, I'm actually going to have to go into the character sheet, I think, on Foundry, because
That's fine.
this thing is being weird on here. Okay, so it did mark it off as being cast. Good. So There's this spellbook. Oh, that's why. And then did that link in chat? No.
Click on the dice to link it in chat.
Oh, okay.
Right? So the spell transforms a creature that you can see within range to a new form. An unwilling creature must make a wisdom saving throw to avoid the effect. Okay, wisdom saving throw is incoming. His roll is a 9.
DC is 15.
He is polymorphed.
He is going to turn into a squirrel.
Squirrel.
Do I have an actor for that? Let me look real quick. Oh wait, that's DDB.
It assumes the hit points of its new form.
I do not have a
A
I
picture.
do not have one for this. Yeah, I don't have a picture for this. So I'm just going
Just
to
reduce his size.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and reduce his size. So he is now a small creature. And his hit points, let me pull up Squirrel real quick.
Is he still a melting squirrel?
That's a good question. Let me take
Can
a
be
look
any beast whose challenge rating is equal to the target's game statistics, including mental ability scores, are replaced by the statistics of the chosen beast. Retains its alignment and personality. Target's gear melds into the new form. The creature can't activate, use, wield, or otherwise benefit from any of its equipment.
Yeah, no, he is not a melting squirrel. He is just a squirrel.
Just a tiny little squirrel.
He becomes just a little squirrel. Oh my god, dude.
And that is a level 4 spell, so that's what it does.
Okay. Yeah, you could easily crush him. Yeah, he's just a little squirrel.
And then when the transformation lasts for the duration or until the target drops to 0 hit points or dies.
All right. Ianfear, great work. Tess, you're up next.
All right, so Tess is still concentrating on keeping Rec buffed. Don't really have anything without getting up close and breaking my concentration to fight, so I guess I'm just gonna go ahead and hold this one.
Okay. So you're gonna go ahead and hold this?
Yeah.
Okay. Is healing concentration really?
It's a buff. It's 10 minutes of concentration.
Okay. Okay. So I guess you're gonna hold your turn. Okay. I mean, any other actions you want to take at this point?
No.
Okay. And just so you know, you can concentrate and move as well.
Okay, I will take a couple steps forward. Closer to the action, though, while continuing to concentrate.
Okay. You continue to focus on this spell, and you take a few steps forward. Misku, you're up next.
Misku,
There we
I think
go.
you're muted. There you go.
Yep. I'm gonna swing thrice. First roll.
9 is
A
a
9.
miss.
All right.
11 is also a miss.
What the heck? All right.
18 is a hit.
I'll take it.
All right, for 7 damage. right, you take a couple swings at this guy, and he sort of easily sidesteps the first two. Kind of coming to, you haul back and you swing heavily with that warhammer and hit him square in the chest. He sort of reels back at you and then sort of puffs up, really huge, standing once again over you. He looks he's looking pretty bad off now.
All right, that'll be my turn.
All right, next up we have Antarius, who he's going to go ahead and move forward. Antarius going to cast yet another moonbeam on this guy, expending another spell slot. This is a DC 14 Constitution save, which he fails. Antarius rolling damage. Antarius, walks up, raises up his blade one more time. The blade starts to emit a glow, and this beam of light pours down from the heavens, surrounding the troll, whose flesh once again begins to sort of just evaporate from his back. He sort of hisses in pain, and he's going to go ahead and take 13 damage. There. Right, and that brings us back to the troll. The troll starts to sort of shake off the acidic wear that has been placed on his skin. So it starts to sort of drip once more, but only before he's able to make 2 claw attacks and a bite attack. He's going to make these first 2 attacks versus Wreck. So incoming claw attacks. So first attack was a 21 versus you, Wreck.
That's going to be a hit.
Okay. Damage is so it'll be 10 slashing damage plus 1 necrotic damage.
Okay, my rage is going to half the slashing, so 5 and then 1.
Okay, so a total of 6 damage. He rakes a claw over you. He's kind of swinging wildly at this point. He rakes a claw across your arm, and as that claw digs into your flesh, there's a searing burn that it sort of leaves behind as you kind of watch the flesh of your arm sort of crumble away. He's going to swing his other claw and sort of bring it around at the fairy.
Don't forget about your +2.
Even with the +2, that was the
I
magic
figured that
number.
last one did.
Okay, so attack against Cyrene. This is a 13 to hit. Looks like that is a hit.
Against
An
Cyrene?
11. Yeah, and against an 11 armor class.
Okay.
Okay.
So this will be 8 slashing damage. Plus 9 necrotic damage.
Oof.
Do you need me to put in the damage for you, or do you got it?
How much was it again?
It's 8 slashing and 9 necrotic.
Okay. Let me try to do that.
So if you, on your character sheet, if you put in 8 and then click damage, it'll damage. And then if you put in 9 and click damage, it'll...
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
Did it work?
Yes. All right, cool. Thank you.
Right, importing. Go. All right, so Serena's looking pretty messed up as well. All right, and the troll is also going to make a bite attack. This one's against Valphalin. 24 is a hit.
Ew.
So he kind of spins around and he takes a bite out of into Valphalin's shoulder. He kind of just latches onto him. Let me see. So we're going to be taking 7 piercing damage plus while that's really rolling. Plus 14. So 7 plus 14 necrotic. Right, importing. So Valphalin sort of reels back away from him and kind of grabs him with one hand, with his shield hand by the, he kind of wedges his shield up underneath the mouth as it clamps down, and with his sword hand sort of presses him away. He unlatches, but this bite kind of leaves this sort of smoking wound, as like you watch the flesh kind of pour away from his shoulder. All right, the other little squirrel kind of like takes off, going just as quick as its little legs will carry it. It looks very scared. Yolanthe, you're up.
She definitely jumps back in surprise whenever Val breathes fire, and then again when the gigantic melting troll turns into a squirrel, she does the little like head tilt, like, and then she sees it start booking it away, and she knows it'll turn back eventually, so she chases after it and tries to pick it up and death shake it.
So this will be an attack with advantage. It is fleeing, trying its hardest to get away.
What's I would say what the distance is.
Okay, so my first is a 24, so I'm pretty sure that hits.
That's a hit, yeah. Go ahead and roll it again just to see if you get the crit.
That's a 19. And
It's a hit either way.
they both conveniently had 7 damage, so
So yeah, you scoop this thing up right by the neck, and as you shake, you hear the crunch of its neck as your prey falls limp within your jaw. That thing is dead.
awesome.
Well, see, now it's going to transform it back into the troll, is the thing.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
very quickly spit it out and kind of back away from it.
Yeah,
And then
so-
I kind of pause for a second and watch it, I guess, twitch. And then I look back at the other one and start making my way back towards it.
Yeah, so it transforms back into its natural form. Well, as natural as that can be. But yeah, it's stopped moving. Its neck is broken, and its head just it's kind of cocked over to one side. Its neck completely snapped. All right. Any other actions here?
Yeah, I want to start moving back towards the other troll to join in and try to take it down. I moved, I think, 3 squares, so I can't quite make it.
Yeah, you can still take another 5-foot step. Cool.
And I pulled up the sheet for Direwolf just so I'd have it. The speed is 50 feet. Am I able to move any more than that, or is that it?
Yeah, you know what? I'll let you take the rest of your move there. So you
Okay.
can move. You can move up to it if you'd like.
I think that's about the max, so I think that's it for me.
Awesome. Wreck Bloodstone.
All right. After taking such a nasty hit, he's going to redouble his efforts, and just and start just going mad. And I'm now going to reckless attack, 2-handed swipes on the troll in front of me.
All right.
So this is an attack with advantage. And looks like the 23 is going to be the hit on the first one.
Yep, they are hit. There it is, a hit.
All right. And rage damage for 13. He makes his second attack. That one's going to be a 25 to hit.
Hit.
And then
Oh, can you roll it since it's advantage still? Can you roll the second just to see if it's a crit?
it's only on the first attack in a turn.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then 11 damage on the second strike.
All right. So, yeah, how does this go down? So you just kind of haul back and.
Yeah, he's just going to start baseball bat swinging into this troll, basically.
Right, so you smash one time into its side, and you hear the sickening thud as it sort of hooks into its rib cage, and forms this big hole, like right in its ribs, and sort of all the flesh kind of drips around your weapon. And you pull it out with this, and like all the flesh kind of drips down to the ground. There's no blood or anything like that, but you can definitely see this hole in its side now. You kind of swing around on the other side, and same thing. It just kind of like it kind of crunches into the side of his arm, pressing it into his rib cage, where the hammer connects into his rib cage and leaves this big gash. Once again, you unhook your weapon, and there's that as his flesh just kind of pours out of the wound. He kind of grasps at his chest, trying to keep his innards inside him, and he snarls at you.
I'm at and he now has advantage on his attacks against me. So
Okay. Cyrene, you're up next.
Okay, I was on mute. All right, so Cyrene is going to weakly and pathetically do another acid splash and try to stop that stuff from falling. And also try to not die while she does things. Oh.
All right, we've got our acid splash. This was a dexterity save from him. DC, I think, was 15 on that, which he fails, so he does take the 3 acid damage.
Okay,
Again,
cool.
your acid sears into his skin, and sort of stops it from coming off of him, meaning it's no longer hitting the party around him.
Mm-hmm. And she's gonna weakly do a little jingle and then look over at Misku and give like a little smile.
Misku gives a big thumbs up.
Phelan, let me see here. See. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and expend a superiority die and do that. We're going to use Distracting Strike. Make an attack roll. The longsword is a 26. We're going to go ahead and roll damage on that. It's 10 damage plus the 1d6, I believe it is, for the superiority die. One moment. Oh no, it's 1d8. Rolling that 1d8 to add the damage. So that is a total of 13 damage on him. All right, and that actually drops him. He falls down to the ground with a sickening thud, and the flesh just kind of evaporates from him, until there's not left but bones. All right, combat is officially over. Great job, everybody. You sort of begin to, everything kind of grows silent. You start to look around and make sure there's nothing left. There doesn't seem to be anything but the wolf who you seem to have saved. Can you go ahead and start a new playlist here? Perfect. So free actions at this point. We don't have to worry about initiative or anything like that.
All right. Kind of look, see what the wolf is doing.
The wolf kind of backs away real quick and is kind of like ears flat, tails tucked, looking at all of you real suspicious.
Any of y'all had wolf ribs for dinner?
I think I wouldn't say that within hearing of Ahara.
Yeah,
You
Talos
did,
might
Kisa.
feel a little threatened. Tess is
He's
going
back
to
at the
examine this
wagon,
body, though. Is the flesh still kind of oozing? Like, did it start oozing again now that the thing is dead?
Yeah, it's sort of it's kind of oozing out, and it's leaving its bones behind. Meanwhile, the wolf who you guys have come to the aid of is sort of backing away, tail tucked, ears back.
Tess is going to attempt to collect some of this oozing flesh in like a glass vial.
Okay, you're able to do that.
The wolf is gonna actually kind of circle around a little bit and head over towards this other one and start kind of sniffing at it, like very curious, like very concerned.
The smell emanating from the bones and the what's left of the flesh that's sort of oozing into the ground bites at your nostrils. It's a very harsh scent. It's almost painful to smell. Probably just out of like the sheer pain of it, you probably let out a yelp.
Yeah, she backs up
Be it-
real quick and kind of like paws at her snoot a little.
Yeah, you kind of try to brush it off your snoot.
I'm gonna slowly try to make my way over towards the area, and then like coming around the other side, seeing sort of the behavior. I'm actually going to use my is it prestidigitation? Sure. There's one. Yeah, so I'm actually going to use prestidigitation to start cleaning out sort of the 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 what's left of all the bones and stuff, so they don't make as much of a smell anymore.
Okay. As you do that, the armored this like fully armored human approaches you. Elanthe, and he sort of ducks down, um, sort of taking both knees. He puts his weapons down in his shield, and then actually so he's going to go ahead and cast Speak with Animals, and in a much to your surprise, in like a beast tongue. So like a language that you can comprehend, and to everybody else it probably sounds like he's like like he like leans down and he says, "Are you okay then?"
She kind of perks her ears up and head tilts and kind of steps really tentatively towards the human and starts kind of sniffing, gets a real close look at the party, sees that nobody has tried to attack or tried to take anything or really done anything other than try to help out. And she decides that it's safe and decides to exit her wild shape and enter her elven form.
All right. So you guys sort of watch as she sort of well, how does it go down? How do you shake off that form? How does that work for you?
Literally shake it off like a dog coming out of a pool, just starts shaking, and as she moves, like she kind of stands up and her fur turns into hair and skin. And she's pretty short, really dark skinned. Her hair's kind of cut short like a, I don't know, a bob or whatever, but it's real poofy. And she looks pretty elven except for her left eye. It has two really black scars going across it, and the eye itself is just a wolf's eye. Like her other eye is a normal, regular old elf eye, but the scarred up one is a permanent wolf eye.
Antarius, surprised, um, watches you as you clamber to your feet after shaking off your form. Um, he doesn't take any action though. He doesn't reach for his weapons or anything like that. And the surprise is kind of slowly fills him with a sort of a broad smile. Um, he actually produces a holy symbol, which you recognize to be the paw print of Landwillen, much like the one that you carry. Uh, and um, what is it? He says, "Forest Mother be with you."
She kind of looks at it and her or eye lights up and she smiles at him and nods. And then she turns to the troll and she says, I've never seen anything like this. And she's like, she's reaching back behind her head like she's trying to smooth down her fur and just keeps kind of like forgetting that it's not there and she's real flustered. So she reaches into her little pocket and pulls out a little flute and just kind of holds it for a second like a little security blanket.
Turning and seeing this wolf who is now a person, Tess is going to run over in awe.
So Tess kind of like, how does it?
She just like locks eyes with this person and kind of gasps and smiles and runs over and says, "Oh, you're a person. Tess had no idea."
Her movement startles her a little bit and she kind of bares her teeth for a second and then she remembers that she's not a wolf anymore and she holds the little flute a little tighter and she looks at Tess up and down. She has never seen a tiefling before in person, so she's like, "What are you?"
She cocks her head to the side and says, "That's the strangest smile Tess has ever seen before." Before holding out a gloved hand and saying, "Hi, I'm Tess. What is your name?"
She kind of hesitates and then she reaches out, but she kind of does it like if you're getting a dog to shake where it like just puts its paw on your hand and it's just like, "Hey." And then she's like, I'm Yolanthe."
Tess shakes her hand vigorously. "It's very nice to meet you, Yolanthe. What are you doing around here?"
"It's very nice to meet you too. If it weren't for you guys, I pretty surely would be dead." She glances over at the troll again and then she kind of looks around. She says, "I was on my way back to the play." She's like really flustered so she can't even remember the name of it. It's like Stas the
Oh,
Staskar.
Staskar.
Indeed. It seems we're traveling in the same direction, says the paladin.
Well, you should join us. You would love our friend Ahara.
She kind of looks around at all of them and says, "Which one is Ahara?"
Oh, he's not here. He's back with our wagon. These are our Tess's friends, and she points behind her to Val and the rest of the group, and she says, "Guys, come over here. It's a person, not a wolf."
Valphalin, sort of clutching that wound on his shoulder, um, approaches ever so slowly, and he raises his hand and he says, Oh, friend, I hope that you are well after that, attack.
I am now. I thank you all. I know I would have been killed if you had arrived much later.
I am Valphalin, and this, he gestures toward the paladin, is my captain, Antarius of Imojokia. Antarius, once again tucking his holy symbol back beneath his armor, um, scoops up his weapon and shield, affixes them to his back and his side at the appropriate places, and comes to his feet, giving you an affirmative nod. Pleasure to make your acquaintance.
She kind of looks over at the troll and back at the party and is just like, I've been here a while and I've never seen anything like this before. What you all fought it. Have you ever fought anything like this before?
We
Mm.
faced troubles, but certainly nothing like this.
Not quite like this. Tess is very interested in examining this flesh.
There has been a rise in the population of the undead of late due to the spread of this disease. I'm sure you've had word of it.
Yes, it's definitely made its way here.
The House Drac, the great dwarven house, one of the great dwarven houses, has been spreading falsified rumors that the disease is the cause of magic users, such as yourself. As such, I recommend if you do find yourself in the city, perhaps make your magical nature a bit less known.
She nods, and she kind of eyes down Ian Fear, who she saw casting some spells, and she kind of she kind of gives him a look, like another little head tilt, and then she looks around. She says, "So you're going to the same city then?"
Yes, we do head for Staskar.
We have a horse with a wagon if you want to rest your legs.
The elf
I'll,
does not
I'll
appear to be the worse for wear. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was about to say I didn't really take any damage, so she shakes her head and says, I'm good to walk, but I wouldn't mind joining the company just in case." And she kind of moves a little bit closer and kind of looks around like she's sniffing the air a little bit, just looking for trouble.
Tess, you notice that this whole time she's sort of been gripping this pan flute, which is like a multi-piped instrument. It's the like tapering pipes that get bigger and it has like connected. You know the instrument.
Yeah. Her eyes locked onto it. She points and says, "Do you play?"
She looks kind of startled and looks down at the little flute and she'd forgotten that she was holding it. It like she has pulled it out just out of habit. And she kind of self-consciously tucks it away into her pocket and she says, "Yes, I do sometimes."
Ooh, Tess would love to hear you play someday.
Hmm.
She just kind of um like ducks her head a little bit, like she doesn't really want to talk about it.
Well, I believe we should be off. Misku, Rek, let's move these bodies off the road so that our cart can clear it.
So while y'all have been conversing, Misku's just been squatting over the bodies, smoking, looking to see if there's anything valuable in the bodies.
Yeah, it doesn't appear to be anything of any value. They were wearing like rags. They don't really give any kind of armor value or anything like that. And other than that, all that's left at this point are bones and what's left of several shavings of skin that are continuing to fall to the ground and rot into the earth.
Wreck moves over to one, starts dragging the bones off to the side.
Valfailing kind of helps you clear up the remainder of the bones that gets disconnected.
Misku stands up from the troll she's squatting over, throws her club over her shoulder, and just exhales with a big sigh and goes, "You guys are broke too, huh?"
Yep, no money on these guys.
Yep.
No money on
We'll
these guys.
start dragging this one off to the side.
Tess will help her.
You guys drag the body off the side of the road. Once you guys finish up, Val turns around. Shall we return to the cart then and make our way to Mekerdika or Staskar?
Yes, let's return, and I've got some wounds I need to dress on all of you.
All right, we're going to go ahead and cut back to our map here. And so you guys start to, guys return back to the wagon and actually are able to, oh wow, that is not very nice. Let me go ahead and redraw that. It's going to be a lot easier that way. All right. So you guys are able to make your way to Staskar. And for those of you who have been here before, not including yourself, Yolanthe, because you were there very, very recently, you've been kind of, doing work out of Staskar, possibly for, maybe a week, a few days. You notice that things have changed quite a bit. So I'm going to go ahead and cut to the scene here. Everybody see the... Oh, no, I guess you can't. Hold on.
Yeah, it says I don't own a token in it.
Sorry. Send that up right now.
Here we go.
So once again, nestled very nicely in the forest surrounding it is this city. But where you once remembered a small hamlet, walls are beginning to be erected around it. You see there's like ongoing construction, and you can hear hammers and work even into the into the dusk. As you approach the gate, there are two guards stationed out front. One of them stops you. Masks?
Oh, right.
Oh,
Tess pulls
Pulls-
her mask out and puts it on.
Thank you. Val kind of dons his mask. So does Antarius. Does everybody at this point wear their mask, I assume?
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah.
Right.
Cyrene takes her little piece of cloth fabric that she had to rip off from her skirt because she couldn't find a mask that was small enough to fit her, and she just puts it right around her head.
Thank you. You may proceed, of course. Are you in from Bunahver?
Yeah.
Is there any word?
More of the same, I'm afraid.
Fortunate. Well, welcome to Staskar. As you can see, we're under a bit of construction at current. We've received order recently to begin fortification. So, as such, please do make yourselves at home. There, the bar is the only service we currently have open, unless you have interest in the surrounding farms. He sort of gestures off to the south, sort of broadly. And sure enough, as you kind of turn toward the south, you can see the stretch of farmland growing out to the south, just beyond the walls. Sort of peering past him, you can see this street makes its way directly up to a bar on the right-hand side. He sort of gestures that way. He's like, yes, the bar was actually the tavern was actually the first building to be completed. in Staskar. It's called the Sorrowful Shield. It's right over yonder. Of course, I won't stay in your way. Welcome in. Please enjoy your stay. And he proceeds back to his post. Govin, jumping down from the rear wagon, approaches the front wagon and kind of pokes his head in, just over the bottom of the wagon. You see sort of his masked but still bearded face. We setting up for the night then?
Well, Tess is always hungry. Could use a meal.
Agreed. I'll bring the wagon about back here. So they say where the inn was. Just to the right.
Yeah, just to the right. The sad shield, the sorrowful shield.
All right.
A sad shield.
We'll bring the wagon about. I'll let Camrim and everyone back there know that we'll be putting in. I'll see you lot there. Right, let me go ahead and pull up the scene and get everything going. So Govin, Camrim are going to go ahead and pull your wagons into the stables. They communicate with the stable hand back there. The rest of you get out and on foot approach the front of this place. So one moment, please. Interesting that popped out. Amphir, Cyrene, Test. So, as you guys enter the city, Val pulls his hood over his head. You guys make your way along the road, and you come to the front of a. You come to the front of a sort of brightly lit building there's a sign posted just out the front of it that says the Sorrowful Shield. Picture of a shield on the just out the front of this small one-story building are a couple of little gardens just in front of a couple of windows open. You can see inside.
Tess is gonna peek inside.
You peek inside, sitting at the bar and sort of in the midst of a conversation. Looks like some commoner wearing a mask and a hood over their head. They occasionally tug their mask up and take a drink from a flagon. And they sort of lean over the bar and over their drink, staring into the liquid, occasionally making a quick exchange with someone off to the side that you cannot see.
Oh, it doesn't look too busy. It should be safe to go inside.
All right, let's do this.
As you crack the door open, the commoner sort of looks up, puts their mask back on, and there is what seems to be a human, kind of large male at the bar. You enter, and he nods at you. Tess follows behind, and as soon as he locks eyes with you, Tess, his eyes light up. He's like, "That's you! I haven't seen you in so long. How have you been?"
Tess kind of stares at him, trying to remember who he is.
So this was actually the bartender from the original Staskar when he first came through. It's kind of nice to see that he's still here.
Okay. After recognizing him, Tess holds her hand up and says, "Hello, my friend. How have you been?"
I've been well. Oh my, we have a. Looks like you've got all your friends in tow.
Yes, the heroes of Bunahver here for some drink and some feed.
Well, all right. Let me get a menu for you. And he sort of swings around and produces this menu. There. So, Yolanthe, you still hanging out outside there?
Yeah, she's taking a little puff.
Nice.
Okay. You see Cyrene kind of enter the building. Balphalin actually pokes his head. Well, actually, kind of steps outside with you. He kind of, I guess maybe he smelled the smoke, and you see that he also produces a pipe from somewhere in his robes and sparks up, standing next to you. He glances at you, but he doesn't say anything. You hear him breathe very deeply through his nose, taking in the night air.
She kind of gives him a little side eye until she sees the pipe, and then she gives him a little like smile and kind of cheerses her pipe at him.
He exhaling these puffs of smoke billow from his nostrils.
And she laughs.
Thought I would be the only one that ever smoked here. Occasionally, Misku partakes too.
She kind of looks him up and down and says, "So you all are heroes from Bunahver?"
And of Staskar, actually.
I see. I'm not from here.
Understand. It's a long story. Shall I regale it to you?
She looks kind of pokes her head into the bar area and just like, well, I guess we have the time. I would be curious to hear about your adventure.
Why don't we come inside? Grab a seat at the table before the hearth, where it's warm.
She nods and puts her pipe away and kind of steps inside with Val.
Val actually doesn't put his pipe away. He keeps his pipe out. Takes a seat at the table in the corner here, just next to the hearth, next to the warm fire.
She looks at him. She's like, "Oh, last time I was in a building and started smoking, someone got mad at me. I don't know anymore." And she pulls hers back out.
We are among friends here. He continues to puff on this pipe, and as he exhales, you get this very sort of like a skunky, grassy sort of smell about it. Yeah, definitely, definitely not the same quality as the herbs that you manage along the road.
He kind of tries not to gag in his face and offers him up a little bit of hers and says, "Here, why don't you try this?"
Oh, thank you. And he gladly obliges and empties this bowl into a little cup with a cap that he produces and packs it, sparks it, and once again the plumes of smoke just billow from his nostril. The bartender approaches you, Tess, and says, "Well then, how have you been?"
Well, we've had our trials and tribulations, but we're having a fun time as best as we can.
So suddenly he looks up and he locks eyes with the Infear. He kind of steps forward and leans over the bar. He says, "I'm afraid the last time we parted ways. I perhaps I wasn't very fair to you. I was I was torn about my daughter leaving, and that's not very fair. And I just want to apologize.
No. I mean, it couldn't have been very, comforting seeing someone walking from the area of your daughter's bedroom and then having her leave.
If it's any consolation, she's doing really well, though.
So I've heard in a few of her letters. I haven't received any in some time. I was actually hoping you lot might know um, if she's doing okay.
She is. She helped set us up with a lot of supplies for our trip.
Oh, she opened up that bar she was talking about.
Yes, she's quite proud of it.
He smiles and his eyes drift over to the wall. You see, actually, over on the wall, just to the west there, there's actually a picture of her that he has of him and her, a portrait that was painted that's there on the wall. And he kind of looks back over at you, and she's just not my little girl anymore.
She'll always be your little girl. She's just doing her own thing.
Well, anywho, I'm glad that she's doing well. He sort of brushes a tear away from his cheek and, well, let's talk business. You have the menu. Let me know what you'd like. It's dinner time, so pay no mind to the breakfast or lunch. With all the supper items are going to be available. Suppose I could whip up some of that smoked sausage. I might have some of that left if you'd like. Otherwise, we do have hippogriff eggs, peaches, and mushrooms.
What about the whole duck?
Oh, you'd like a whole duck?
A whole duck, yes.
Is
Absolutely.
this 5 silver for everything here, or just per each thing?
Per each, yes.
All right,
Per
I would
each.
like a whole duck and potato.
He kind of, double takes your voice for a minute, hearing it. He says, I reckon I've heard that accent before. You dwarf part?
Only on my father's side, and he kind of pulls the bear cloak back.
My grandfather was a dwarf. He reaches his hand out to you, and he's like, "Oh, forgot. That's not very appropriate at current formalities, right?" Anywho, whole duck. What else? What do you have?
And potato.
Oh, okay. Whole duck and potatoes. So we got a whole
Yeah.
duck, we got a whole duck and a potato. What about you? He gestures over at Misku. Oh, his eyes kind of narrow. I haven't seen you either. How you been?
Misku's sitting there at the bar with her head in her hand, dragging off her pipe. Nods to the old man and says, "It's been a while, eh?"
It sure has. Last I saw you, I think you rested up in the out in our stables back when we had the old establishment. And I believe y'all helped us get rid of some of our insect problems. I do appreciate that.
Oh, I
Misku gives
hate
a
bugs.
little affirmative nod and just says, "I'll be taking the potatoes and the cabbage." And she just goes back to tending her wounds.
Potato and cabbage, coming right up. What about you, boy? He looks over at Ianfear again.
Oh, just gonna be the fruits. Just
Raisin pie?
raisin pie.
Raisin pie, coming right up. He sort of looks over. Is that lizard man character you guys traveled with last time? Valfailing kind of shoots this kind of darting gaze up. I am a dragonborn, and yes, it is I.
Lizard man.
And looks like you got somebody new with you. Nice to meet you. My name's Blave. I'll be your barkeep. What do you have?
She kind of gives a little wave while she finishes dragging, and then she exhales and she thinks about it for a second. She says, I wouldn't mind a duck.
Whole duck. Seems to be a popular dish tonight. Not that I can blame you. My duck is best round these parts. Even Mekerdika, they come from miles.
Tess is practically drooling at this point.
I'll have that up in just a bit. What about you? Dragonborn, was it? Just Valphalin will do. Valphalin, then. Whole duck? Yes, that does sound delicious. Coming right up. That'll be 5 silver apiece. Just leave it on the bar before you, then I'll get you taken care of. He flashes a sort of wide grin at you. So Valphalin just kind of places 10 silver pieces down on the table before him. He gestures at you, Yolanthe. I've got yours covered for our new friend.
Oh, thank you. She kind of looks down at the silver, and she's not really sure how to respond to that, so she just kind of nods and says, thanks, I'll get the next one, I guess.
Considerate payment. It's a delicious herb. What was this again? You may
She
not know.
kind of gives him a mischievous little glance, and she says, well, if you keep me around, I will be happy to share. Just don't go try to pick it yourself. You may wind up with an itchy tongue.
Ooh, interesting. I would be interested to hear these stories.
15
Perhaps
points.
share a few of my own. All right. So as for everybody else, we've run out of time. I know we've been a little bit over. I'm really happy that that everybody who had tuned in, and I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Until next time, and as always, I am VGpunx, your most humble DM. Friends, we're signing. Keep a song.